Matter of time, and now the official confirmation coming in from the ICC. Shah, the man you see on your screen right now, is, as you would have expected, as we expected, this was almost an open secret. There had to be voting that had to take place in Dubai. It just got over a brief while back. There was nobody who stood in competition to Shah, and as a result, he's been elected unopposed as the new ICC chief. Greg Barclay, as we know, and I told you here on Sports Today as well, will not be contesting, and that opened up the position of the ICC top top boss, and there is a big elevation now, and after a lot of time we're now seeing an Indian representative being in charge of the ICC. Siddharth Gulati joining me right now as we give you more details about this particular developing story.
Yeah, so Shah is actually the youngest ICC boss in the, I would say, the history of the cricket's body at the age of 35. And when we look at, his cricket journey, I think it started way back in 2009. when he started working at the district level for cricket development in Gujarat. Then he was a part of the Gujarat Cricket Association for that matter, and so on and so forth. The things worked for him in the cricket circuit, and in 2019 he became the BCCI secretary, and he served his term here for 5 years. Could have gone on for another year, and then after that he would have had to serve a 3-year cooling off period for that matter, but now he's going to be the new ICC boss.
Yeah, I believe this is how it's going to work, right? If he wants to in the future come back and serve the BCCI and Indian cricket more, this acts as the cooling period, does it? The time that he's going to be in charge?
I believe it does.
The time that he's going to be in charge of the ICC. So that's that, as far as his official appointment is concerned, that's already happened. But does that mean he takes charge immediately? Well, not quite, because Greg Barclay's term is set to end towards the end of the year, and only then will Shah officially then be taking over.
That's however, from the beginning of December.
The beginning of December. There you have it. Now, that's as far as what is going forward. Since we're speaking of what is in line for Shah, let's also talk about some of the hurdles. What is it that Shah needs to address? There's plenty of cricket happening in the world right now. The ICC is faced with new challenges as well in terms of taking it to newer audiences. An experiment in this regard was done very recently at the 2024 of the edition of the T20 World Cup. You've got the LA Olympics as well. Yeah. How is it that cricket can be taken forward? How is it that cricket can be taken to newer audiences? That's going to be one of the big challenges that Shah will now have to address and ensure that cricket becomes that much a popular sport as is some of the other sports as well.
And I think at the very same time, not just reaching out to the associate nations, but also having those close discussions or those detailed discussions with the boards that are really struggling to bring their players on board to play test cricket at a very consistent rate. Case in point being West Indies Cricket Board. Therein money may or may not be the issue, but the player availability is actually the thing, because they know that the players are not really keen on playing test cricket. So that's where, if you have to make sure that test cricket survives in the longer run, it's not just going to be about the World Test Championship. It's basically going to be about working in collaboration, reducing the number of 2-match test series and increasing them to 3 or 4-match test series, so that it not just remains the dominance of the big three, it extends beyond that too.
Exactly. Speaking of other challenges that come to my mind, of course, there's going to be the other challenge of making sure that you have these dedicated windows as well. How is it that you can have a distinction between, let's say, the IPL, some of the other prominent leagues as well, and international cricket not suffer as a result? That is going to be another thing that Shah will now have to address. How is it that in a harmonious, financially acceptable, financially viable manner for the other boards as well, that the IPL can progress and the other burgeoning leagues as well, other leagues that have cropped up in other parts of the world? Case in point, SA20, BBL, the ILT20, so many of these leagues that have popped. Now you've got a league that's come up in the United States as well. So how is it that in a harmonious manner, in a financial, how can you come up with a financial model that is viable for everyone, that suits everyone, doesn't come at the cost of one board or the other, and that international cricket as well, how the two things can go hand in hand is also something that Shah in his tenure, the first couple of years I think of Jay Shah's tenure, these will be the big challenges. The second one, as we discussed, Siddharth, will probably
Yes.
be the one issue where everyone will have a very close eye on.
Absolutely, and I think this just brings me to an update that I was reading a couple of days back, that the ICC is planning on allocating a specific fund for the resurgence
For
of Test cricket. It is about $1,500 million in USD, and this fund is basically going to be allocated by the big three, which is India, Australia, and England, so that Test cricket survives, because they also know that if you have to build the player interest, you would have to pay them well. When it comes to nations like West Indies, Pakistan, New Zealand, also for that matter, New Zealand is actually turning out to be that one nation which had done consistently well in the across formats in the past few years. But now when you look at their situation, there is a new term that has surfaced in their cricket, and it's called a casual contract.
Devon Conway is the recipient of that casual contract.
Kane Williamson too, for that matter.
There could be others as well who, not just in New Zealand but in other parts of the world as well, extended such contracts. Again, the West Indies players always come to your mind with so many troubles already happening over there. So these are going to be some of the issues that Jay Shah will have to address. Will the Champions Trophy issue for 2025 also be something that he'll have to look at or have a say? Well, we've done a detailed discussion on that just about a couple of hours back. We spent some time talking about it. That video is up. That was our topic for today's Dugout. So check that out. We've tried exploring various angles as to what it is that it could mean for India, what is it that it could mean for Pakistan cricket. So there's a dedicated 1 hour long discussion on that, in case that is something that is coming to your mind right now. And before we take your leave, is there anything else that we can
I think that's pretty much about it. But we are going to leave you with one question, that what do you think about Jay Shah's appointment as the new ICC chairman? You can obviously let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We can take it in one of our dugouts also. And don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates and analysis from the sporting world. And until then, on behalf of Harshit and my producer Shashwat, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye.